It's been a learning. I mean, this started January 8th. So you look back and, it's been a journey. They say the journey's destination. So, just learning, not knowing where you were on January 8th and, trying to evaluate your guys. We had those 15 practices in the fall, but then we've kind of had a new football team start January 8th. So it kind of started that process over again and, just evaluating, trying to develop a plan, never playing, in this league or going to those places. So for us, it's been a tremendous learning experience. Some of them been hard learning experiences, but you got to go through that pain. I don't know if there's ever been a place that in my coaching career, first year's gone, people try to remind me, I have a Coach Fickle keeps sending me a text after each game, remember our first year. And I'm like, I tried not to have that. And I think sometimes you got to go through that to learn about your kids, your character, and who you are. And I think that's the motivation that drives you in the off season.
Coach, like what you asked Andrew, the benefits of playing in spring. There were so many teams in your conference, out of your conference, had a different philosophies on what the spring season would mean to them in terms of getting ready for the fall. The risk versus the reward of injuries and what might cost you in the fall. What do you think, just from reps and experience, this did for you? And are you happy that you were able to play 8 games and obviously have a payoff in the fall versus what everybody else, not everybody else, but some of the other teams in the conference thought about what spring season might be?
Yeah, and we met a lot, so I thought everyone was going to stick together and stay with it. So, I wish there was some sort of penalty because some can see that as an advantage, a competitive advantage, not playing, But for us, we knew the only way you get good at football is by playing. And these young men haven't played football in a long time, and some of them it was their first college experience, first time getting on a plane. And I can still look each week and see the improvements that we've made. And sometimes the score's not always indicative of the improvement that we make, but I see a defense that every week got better. I see an offensive line and an offense that got better each week. We wish the results would have been different, but, we definitely needed that. And we learned a lot about who we are as a team, who we are as a program, going into this offseason. Now we got to find out, where do we got to make the necessary improvements, whether it's on our roster, whether it's in our scheme, whether it's in our run game, pass game, our blitz game on defense, or our special teams. So, there's nothing like playing. You can go practice all you want, but having the game film definitely makes you a better football team.
But this is your first go around in this league and seeing these teams in person and competing against the majority of the teams. Do you feel you have, the necessary players or the players to compete? And what do you look to, and you probably answered it a little bit, what do you look to do in the offseason as far as improvement?
Well, I think the teams that have the most consistency, coaches that have been there a while, the difference is not having a true cycle in the offseason. Be able to get stronger, to be able to get bigger. I think, when we struggled maybe earlier, playing against South Dakota State or North Dakota State, I'm anxious to get some of those young guys in a weight room. And really, it's not going to be a true cycle this year because we've been playing football. You don't get stronger when you're playing the game and your body's being, torn and worn. And we're not going to get a true off season until next year, until 22, a true off season. So that's concerning, but we got to make the most of it when our season concludes and get back in the weight room, make sure we get plenty of rest. We're going to give our guys some off time there in May, and then we got to come back, and we only have 2 months, June and July, which isn't a true cycle, to try to get as strong as we can to go through another 10-game season. So, nobody's ever been through it. I said this in the beginning. There's no template. Hindsight, I wish there's some things we might have done different because, you've never been through this type of situation before. So even going into this fall is going to be interesting.
Coach, can you tell us a little bit about Mark's injury and how he's recovering?
Yeah, an upper body injury that, happened like play 3, the Western Illinois, and that speaks volumes of Mark that, he played through the whole game. I don't think anyone could see a difference in his competitiveness. He was a warrior, and even last week, but you could see the day after the game, how worn he was from that game, the soreness from it. He was saying, Coach, I'll be ready for this week. And, early in the week we say, no, we don't need to do this. This is spring football. We have to play a season in 5 months. And so we felt at that point, we didn't need to see him this past Saturday.
How do you kind of evaluate the quarterback position moving forward? When you go into the offseason, is it, all right, Mark's our guy, or is it kind of open for competition all over again?
I think if our kids were right in front of me, they know how much I believe in competitive edge and how much competition means to this program. So I want them to think that they're competing every day of their lives, versus that somebody wants that job that's sitting behind you. So when we go in, that's how great programs become great, is there's competition. Nobody's crowned, hey, you're the starter. They got to come in every day as a job interview. Every day you got to come and compete and beat the guy out that's pushing to have your job. And that's part of our program principles, and that'll never change.
North Dakota comes in here with a lot on the line. Conference championship, first and foremost, and maybe an automatic berth, playoffs, all that stuff. But what do you want to see from your guys in this final game? Because it won't be in the playoffs, but what do you want to see on this final Saturday that would make you happy as a coach, just outside of a win, obviously, but what do you really want to see from your guys, knowing you got a team coming in here fighting for a lot right now?
We haven't won that game that everyone would expect you to win. So for us to be able to finish and to be able to beat an opponent that is ranked, that's playing for a lot, that's in the playoffs, and, our effort, I'm proud of our young men. I think they've given tremendous effort from the get-go. You go back to Missouri State and you watch that first, second quarter, and the effort our young men play with. That I'm proud of them. Tell them I love them. And I know that's the Youngstown way. Is we got to fight. We got to play with a chip on our shoulder. Nobody's going to give you respect. I always tell them we look at the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I look at the standings, and they might say it's alphabetical, but they put Youngstown dead last. And we've played as more games than anybody in the league, and we're still last with one loss. And there's other teams with one loss that you can say opted out or quit, and they're still ahead of us. So to me, that's a little disrespectful for the time, the effort we put into this season to play football games. But I just want to see our guys fight, and our guys do. We had a Tuesday practice. This is a hard practice. Yesterday we got a bounce back from a loss, and today we go out there with our hard hats on and carrying our lunch pail, and we got to go work and we got to go earn it. So I was proud of the effort they did on Tuesday, and I'll be proud of the effort they're going to show on Saturday.
What do you think it says about you guys? What kind of message does it send that you guys didn't quit? I think a lot of people, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but people thought, oh, Youngstown probably just cancel that last game. They're not going to play against North Dakota. What do you think it says about you guys and the kind of fight that you showed by continuing this season and not giving up on it?
Well, we're not to the end of the week yet, so you never know what's happened. Last time we were playing North Dakota, we were already in the facility ready for our Friday practice. So, for different reasons, this has been a this is the toughest week probably, just because they're kids. They see the light at the end of the tunnel. They're thinking fall. They're thinking they got a game in 5 months. So you got to battle all those. And they've seen other teams not playing. There's only 2 league games this week, I believe, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and us. And, to be able to not look towards the future. I mean, I deal with 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old young men. And those are the things that I think you talk about it, you're real with them about it, but trying to get them locked back into an opponent that hasn't played in a month, that has 4 weeks to study Youngstown State. They probably practice 3 days a week, using it as a bye week. And, so they're fresh. They've studied us. They haven't had to worry about anyone else the last 4 weeks. And, so those are all concerning. Those are things we address with our team. But at the end, we got to get our kids ready to play football against a very good opponent this Saturday.
This will probably be the last time that the box is. What's your assessment of the job? Is it everything that you thought it would be? What are some things that you can expect? Like, how do you feel?
I mean, I always feel honored, that I get to serve, Mahoning Valley. I get to serve Youngstown State University, serve Youngstown, and I'm fortunate that I get to lead these young men. So there's not a day goes by that I don't feel blessed and humbled that I get that opportunity to do that from a learning experience. Again, I've been here before. The kids we use, stories or whatever. I've been here before, whether it's as a high school head coach or whether it's at a program, whether it's the University of Cincinnati 4 years ago where, you're trying to build something. So I've been here. You try to rely on those resources or, those past experiences. I think we've grown. Again, the results haven't shown, and we're not going to make excuses for that. We work hard to win football games, and that's always going to be our goal. But in the process, I think we've built stronger relationships, from player to player, from coach to player, figuring out what we need to do, what adjustments we need to do. And as a head coach, I'm always going to reflect, how can I better serve my players? And, we'll sit down and reflect after this season and come up with a plan that we can get this program back to the winning a league championship, playoff team, and competing for a national championship. We're in the right league to do that, so it's our job to find the way.
The kids sure seem to have bought into, the belief that you've kind of instilled about coming together as a team and kind of getting YSU back on the map. How important is it that, you hear that, you see that, that these kids are buying into your message?
I see that every Friday night, when we're on the road, for a game, and I see it at practice. I can walk through the locker room. I see that. I can walk through the training room, and I see that. And, you got to build that locker room first. I'm a firm believer before you can truly have success, on the field, and building that team within, that empowering them that it's their football team. I'm just fortunate enough to be, the head football coach, but it's their football team, and to get them to buy into that. And we're not there yet. We talk about that all the time, that, we've made steps, but we're certainly not where we need to be. But we're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to develop those relationships and build our team. And, I truly believe, and, this was, Coach Tressel, that you get what your works deserves. And one day we're going to get what our works deserves.
Can you tell us about North Dakota and what they bring to the table?
I mean, we studied and practiced for them a week this year. They're very defensively. I love how they play football. They run to the football. They create chaos. They create turnovers. A lot of line movement, a lot of blitzes. So I love their effort and how they play the game of football on the defense side of the ball. offensively, they got an experienced offensive line with a quarterback that can throw, and they got tall receivers, something that we see each week in this league. And they have a coach that, okay, it might be his 7th year, but he has a lot of North Dakota, years there, that consistency. They've been to the playoffs. So in special teams, they take chances. They'll do fakes in punt game. So, we got to be ready for that. And again, they've had 4 weeks now, 4 weeks without playing a team to prepare. So it might be a complete different team we see on Saturday. I don't think they're going to make major adjustments, but they're able to work on certain things, whether it might be a trick play, a fake field goal, a fake punt, who knows? But they've had time to do those things.
Doug, I know you mentioned earlier some sort of penalty for teams that didn't finish the season for unrelated COVID. I mean, unrealistically, that won't happen. But what would you like to see happen in your crystal ball?
No, I'd like to see get a check to the league that comes to us that helps me with meals for my boys in the summer, something like that. But I get it. We all have to make decisions, which is in the best interest of our players, But I thought there's got to be a consistency, and there can't be an advantage one way or the other. We're straining to play our 8th game when someone's in the weight room, having that cycle of strength and conditioning, which we need too, so it's that fine line. And I'm certainly not going to question anybody, but, they don't give you nothing for going 1-7. They say, oh yeah, great improvement, but that means absolutely nothing. But to our kids, I think they realize, what type of team we can have and what type of team we will have for the future.